Sometimes you invest in multiple classes from different mentors to help you. And let's say you have 10 different courses that you've taken or 10 different mentors that you've worked with. Even if one works, that's 1 out of 10. That one that works will outshine the other 9 that fell by the wayside. But if you only tried one course, one mentor, and it didn't work out, now you're screwed because you have nowhere else to go.
Please do something where you have yourself a healthcare plan. And what I mean by that is a long-term healthcare plan. Like you're setting aside money in an HSA or something so that you could dictate what your health or what your level of care looks like. Should you not need it or should you need it, you can dictate it.
Listen, you never know what life brings you. You never know what life brings your loved ones. And when you're in this life, sharing it with someone you love, what happens to them impacts you as well. So try to, you can't tell the future, but you got to set yourself up to be able to be in a position when the unpredictable happens, that you're in a position not to be sucked in and allowing your situation to dictate what you do. You always put yourself in a position to dictate based on a position of strength and being proactive as opposed to being reactive, man. There.
Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
To me, a lot of times we think of athletes as just these people that go out and perform for people to make money. But the reality is that a lot of athletes these days are much more informed than they were 10, 20, 30 years ago. And Roger Federer, look at this, from tennis legend to billionaire investor. So Roger Federer has officially joined the billionaire club. And here's the twist. It wasn't just tennis. He had early bets on private equity and brand partnerships that were made, and gave him a fortune. And so he was investing in a Swiss sportswear brand, and it's called On, and it went public and it skyrocketed, man. So what are some of your insights to this as the finance guy?
Well, what I'm realizing is that if you want to become wealthy, you can't do it in traditional retail finance. And what I mean by that is that when you look at somebody like this, obviously you can look at it and go, oh my God, here's the argument. And you go, yeah, but Chris, you made 140, 170 million playing tennis. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a king's ransom, right? Yeah, I mean, let's just say he made somewhere around $150 million playing tennis. That's a king's ransom. Look, I don't think anybody's going to complain about being worth $150 million. 10 million is actually, 5 million is actually the freedom number, but I say 10 million. At 10 million, you're pretty much insulated from anything that weird that happens. You can do whatever you want. It's 10% at a minimal interest rate. You're good. But looking at this, what you can see, the genius thing you said, there's private equity. He got involved and made bets on private equity and investing in private equity and private stuff, non-retail investment, on cloud, on. Everybody wears those now. I wear them. I was looking for a pair of shoes to buy, and I was like, I need shoes to wear to walk in, and I'm like, I don't want Nikes. I don't want Reeboks. I don't want New Balance. I don't want any of that stuff. And I see a pair of on clouds and I go, what are those? Those are cool. And I'm like, I like those. And I get them and I'm like, these are sick. And there's a nice pair of shoes. He's an investor in it. Right. But the thing to me is that the shrewd business activity of this guy with making these bets in private investment, getting it made off, the deal he signed with Uniqlo, which is a Japanese, he left, what was it, Nike? He was doing like Nike or something like that. Mm-hmm. He left them. It was like, oh my God, right? Made all bets and negotiated this contract to pay him $30-some-odd million a year, whether he played professional tennis or not. Genius. So a lot of people could look at this and go, oh, but Chris, you made this money playing tennis and all that stuff. Here's the secret sauce that makes that whether you're making $50,000 a year right now, or you're making $100,000 a year or $500,000 a year, or you're making $140 million like our boy Roger here did. It's all relative. That's so nice to hear that. It's all relative, which means that all you have to do is just set aside a percentage and go invest it. That's it. I mean, there's 3 different categories. There's the money that's conservative that you don't ever want to let go of, right? That this is the money no matter what. If all hell freezes over, this money covers my, whatever you're solving for. It covers my bare minimum expenses, my mortgage and my car payment and groceries for me and the kids, right? That's that account. Then there's the steady retail investments, the investments, I don't really want to lose money, but I want to make some bets. You're taking some risk. Great, awesome. You're in the market. Cool. But then there's the money, which is like your green light account. And that green light account, you don't care. It's all risk. You don't care if you lose it tomorrow. You're emotionally okay, financially okay if you risk it. It's like going to the casino. But the difference is that you've made informed bets because you've had an analysis. You've done some frisking. You've researched it. Maybe you have an advisor that's invited you, that's helping you. You have informed decisions. You're going, okay, you're piecing together. There's a contract, there's insurance, whatever the case may be. And you go and roll that dice. And you go and you make those bets happen. He did it. And he did it not just with one. He did it with
Rolex.
Benz, Lindt, Rolex, Mercedes,
Unicorn,
NetJets. Like before, who would have thought people would want to lease jets? Now, shoot, what is it? If you could spend, if you're making $1 million more, you could spend 10% of your income on private transportation, which means you could spend $100,000 a year on private transportation, which means you could take a NetJet on your next family vacation. You could take what's the one that's really popular now? The stock is really good. It's called UDX or something, or JSX. JSX is massive now, right? Which is like a semi-private type of deal. Team A, he just made a series of it. He didn't just go once, but he made a series of them. And there are some people out there who will go, yeah, but Chris, there's studies that show singularity in investment strategy works. And then there's strategies that go diversity. Like, for example, the study of Larry Ellison is fascinating. Look at Larry Ellison. He's the second richest man in the world again. Why? Because the majority of his portfolio is where? Oracle software. And Oracle's big in AI government data space. Like, what was it? Like ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot, all the data they're looking at comes from Oracle servers or something to that effect, or some weird, some tie there. So
I thought it was connected to Microsoft too, but okay. Something
like that. But then when you look at Bill Gates, Bill Gates diversified his portfolio down. Warren Buffett told him to. Not saying Warren Buffett is 1,000x better than me at anything, right? But what I'm saying is just look at the argument between diversification strategies and not.
Both work.
Elon Musk didn't diversify. He's mostly Tesla, right? Or Larry Ellison didn't. Steve Ballmer had no equity when he was hired to Microsoft. In fact, they signed a deal to get rid of that equity play when they went public because it was too expensive. In fact, he was able to buy equity only after they got rid of his equity bonus plan or something to that effect, right? And now look, Steve Ballmer's worth more than Bill Gates.
That's right. So I never thought I'd see that day. That's crazy.
So you're starting to see singularity investment strategies work, but in this case, his investment strategy was singularity. I'm going to invest in a lot of private equity within brands that I know. Mercedes, Rolex, Benz, Lindt, luxury. That's right? Uniqlo, tennis in his wheelhouse, got a contract. On Cloud, right place, right time. Everyone's sick of wearing New Balances and Nikes and Reeboks. We want something, and Adidas. We want something fresh. They look fresh. They look like nothing else in the marketplace. This to me is just what genius. And if you're looking at it today, it's AI, humanoids, data, biosciences. Those are the leading trends. And find private equity and invest in them. Look what it did for Roger. Anybody can make it. I'm excited about it. I look at this stuff like that. I want to study that.
Absolutely. I think it's always good to study the great stories of people who made fantastic decisions. And I think when you're looking at different ways to invest, I think also another way to take a look at it is sometimes you invest in multiple classes from different mentors to help you. And let's say you have 10 different courses that you've taken or 10 different mentors that you've worked with. Even if one works, that's 1 out of 10. That one that works will outshine the other 9 that fell by the wayside. But if you only tried one course, one mentor, and it didn't work out, now you're screwed because you have nowhere else to go. And so if you haven't figured out what your lane is, what your objective is, what your goal is as it relates to investing, press rewind and listen to what Chris said again, because what we're talking about specifically here is that money that you can afford to lose. Take that, diversify it into different places, and figure out if one works out of 10, then you're good. And so just make sure that you're doing your homework, you're doing your due diligence. Don't just listen to two guys on YouTube and just go willy nilly and go invest in any of those companies that we've laid out, because that might not be the best investment for you, because your tolerance for risk might be a little bit different. And so if you have a low tolerance for risk, then you should find blue chip companies and companies that have been around for a while. Now you're going to get a lower return, but if your tolerance level is low, then you want to make sure you take that into account. Now, if you have a high tolerance, then you've also got to have a high level of discipline, so you don't allow that high tolerance to take money that Chris talked about in the green zone of investing, that is money that you can just, lose and not lose sleep over. You've got to have some discipline to make sure that you don't run off the rails. So set up some guardrails for yourself. Make sure that you talk to some professionals, and also do your own due diligence. Don't allow just somebody to tell you what to do and you blindly follow it. But going back to Roger Federer, man, respect. Shout out to Roger Federer. Congratulations for being a part of the Billionaires Club. No hate, shade thrown at you, man. Nothing but respect. So I think it's been a good conversation. It's always good to just find other success stories, man. And, he was a successful person on the tennis court, but, Michael Jordan did the same thing with Jordan, and, obviously a different way, but he was revolutionary.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. And so those are two differences. Michael Jordan made his billion, he made his billion in one company. Shaquille O'Neal is diversified over, so many different companies, from ships to Ep6 to stuff that goes on your body. Yeah.
Everything.
He is everywhere. But he said, look, I want to get my hands on ownership of lots of different companies. So anybody that tells you that one way is the right way, they're the one that's wrong. That was just right for them. And so, man, thanks for bringing that up, man. I really enjoyed learning about all of that with Roger Federer.
It's great. And I think at the end of the day, too, to your point, too, because you see this a lot, is please do something where you have yourself a healthcare plan. And what I mean by that is a long-term healthcare plan. Like you're setting aside money in an HSA or something so that you could dictate what your health or what your level of care looks like. Should you not need it, or should you need it, you can dictate it. Because don't rely on your kids to take care of you, and don't rely on the government or pensions or benefit packages from employers. So many people get so stuck and they feel safe for so many years of their lives because they have a benefits package with their employer, and then they don't realize is that when they retire and they don't have a benefits package, it's okay, I'll have the government benefit package. You want the resources to afford a private benefits package, which is obviously, the stuff that you see every day. I'm coming and calling you. I don't want someone taking care of me, man. Mm-hmm. I don't want a government facility. I want a private stuff taking care of me. If and when that happens to me, I plan on, in the next 20 years, I plan on at least 30 to 40% of my body being artificial, because I'm going to get implants and all that stuff as I need it. I'm just kidding. But if it happens, it happens.
Whoa, okay. I was listening to a story earlier today, as a matter of fact, and you were talking about a person who is making decisions about getting an HSA and not allowing themselves to be put in a position to be taken care of by the government. Situation was this. Her mom had Alzheimer's, and she was in her late 20s, and she had a 6-figure job that she was working at. But because her mom didn't have anything in place, and she didn't have anything in place, she ended up having to stop working to take care of her mom. And so her mom progressed over a period of 10 years. So from her late 20s to her mid to late 30s, she was taking care of her mom. And the most important income earning years to build up that time and that money and that wealth was snatched away. So sometimes you think you're not old enough to have an HSA or long-term care. Listen, you never know what life brings you. You never know what life brings your loved ones. And when you're in this life, sharing it with someone you love, what happens to them impacts you as well. So try to you can't tell the future, but you got to set yourself up to be able to be in a position when the unpredictable happens, that you're in a position not to be sucked in and allowing your situation to dictate what you do. You always put yourself in a position to dictate based on a position of strength and being proactive as opposed to being reactive, man. So, man, such an important point that you brought up there.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate your time as always, Len. Look, guys, if you were entertained by this conversation, or you have feedback, or you want to comment, go ahead and do so. We're always open to have a conversation with people. And then also, if you like it or you want to see future things to talk about, I mean, for me, I don't care. Len, I know you don't care. We'll talk about any subject. And again, at the end of the day, we're still friends. We're still coworkers. We're still peers. We're still business partners, and we can have topics like this unemotionally attached to it, so that you can really understand how you feel, and you can really understand the world that's going around you, so that you don't think you're crazy. I mean, that's really the reality behind it. So that being said, Len, it's always a pleasure to see you guys on the next one. Appreciate your time, man.
Always. Take care, man.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Family Office.